no other. Please don't be afraid, for not everything seems to be what it is.
In our presentation, I came up with this little horrible British accent that is so sad.
Open the door to Ollivanders, but you may think you're in Zonko's joke shop.
I don't care how awful my accent is or whatever. I mean, if I was on the runway and I felt like, you know, boob was about to pop out, I wasn't gonna stop, turn around and run back. No, I'm gonna tuck it and keep moving, you know?
And please, don't forget to tell your parents to visit the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Young wizard. Be very careful as you enter the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Be careful. Don't look at me. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Muggles and wizards, muggles and wizards, muggles and wizards, muggles and... Cindy was like totally in character. Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. Muggles and wizards, you'll need that, you'll need that. Off to Ollivander, off to Ollivander. And I'm going like this. I'm like, for sake, Cindy, shut up. Come this way, come this way.
Welcome, welcome to Ollivanders. As you know, your wand chooses you, so, you know, let's see, which one would be yours?
The kids were looking at me like, is this lady crazy?
Please check this wall right here. Oh, no, this isn't right.
I was part of the special effects. It's just a way to kind of make it interactive, like the boxes are coming off.
Maybe I have one for you. Let's see, how about this one? Okay. Oh, that is the one I want you.
I think they really loved the presentation and how well it was done.
I like playing around with kids.
This one. Oh, there you go. There you go. It likes you. Okay, please come out this way. Please come out this way.
Congratulations on completing the Forbidden Journey. Please take a chocolate frog, a blood pop, some birthday bought beans.
Part of the criteria is the overall experience for these young people, and they have a very high standard. And so it was very important to come off authentic.
My favorite, and thank you for coming to the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Thank you.
So when I gave them their scroll and congratulated them on their journey and their goodies, they all had smiles on their faces. So I felt very confident.
On behalf of Team Tenacity, we would just like to thank you for enjoying the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
At Universal.
Come on in, welcome. Please take one of our nice brochures. Oops, how you doing? Wait, we don't want to forget anybody.
Today, we'll be judged on the execution of the 3D display, the whole experience of the wizarding world of Harry Potter, and most importantly, these little Harry Potter nerdlingers are going to give us their feedback and let me know what they think, and if they don't like it,
First of all, I just want to take a moment to welcome all of you to our awesome display today. We put a lot of time and effort into this. My name is Brett Michaels, and I am an avid fan of Universal Orlando, because I'll tell you what, the wizarding world of Harry Potter is about to be the biggest attraction ever. Coming spring 2010, it rocks, all right? As a rocker, I know this for a fact, right? If you all want to come over here for just a minute and line up.
I walked in and presented myself as average, everyday American rock star dad who takes his girls to Universal. And then all of a sudden I had Curtis pop out.
Professor, would you come out? They're right here in front of you waiting you, sir.
Yes, I'm coming up. Hello there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Have you used one of these before?
No.
Do you want to use one of these?
Yes.
Come with me then, one at a time. You first, young man. In you go. Big step up. There you go. Here, Governor, we've got our first student.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Farley?
Hello, Farley. How are you? Welcome to Hogwarts Castle.
Here's the magic hat.
Magic Hat's going to tell you what class you belong in. You know, this Magic Hat can talk all by itself. And I wonder what class you're going to be assigned to. Is it Hufflepuff?
Slytherin.
Ooh, is it Slytherin? I don't know.
So we brought one of the little boys through and sat him on his chair and we asked him which school was he going to have to attend.
Magic Hat, which is it?
Gryffindor.
Whoa, Gryffindor, congratulations.
It was really cute to see these little fans who are obviously such fanatics of Harry Potter. That even this little experience that we created for them, they were stoked. Now, this has magical powers. Let's see what you can do.
Once the kids came in and I looked at that thing, I'm like, it was crazy.
Tree.
They've got a tree that moves, it's Goldberg. I mean, no kid wants to see that stuck inside a dark castle. And Michael, who's some sort of monk of evil darkness.
I'm going to let you use my wand just once, okay?
Right, I thought it couldn't get any creepier.
Now, do you think you can take control of the wand?
I'm like, oh God, all of us are going to prison after this creepy castle ride.
I think a little more smoke. A little more smoke. A little more.
So the presentation is going quite well, but there's a bit of a problem.
Dire. No more smoke.
There's so much fog in this room. It doesn't really matter what we're doing because you can't see any of it anyway.
No more of that. We're not going to be able to breathe.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
The wizarding world of Harry Potter has all kinds of amazing things. You can take rides, you can...
What kind of rides?
You can ride. The headmaster knows all about the rides. Governor, I need the governor, please.
The governor's not the governor, the governor's the headmaster.
He's all by himself with his Universal executive, and the executive's asking him about the Dragon roller coaster.
One of our best attractions, which happens to be the Dragon, the Dragon ride that makes it simulate a roller coaster.
Oh, I could visualize that Dragon roller coaster, but I can't quite remember what the name is.
The good news about that Dragon ride is it doesn't breathe any fire. In any event,
he sat there. I don't know what he thought about the fact that we maybe could have been a little bit more prepared on the Dragon roller coaster.
Did you get to see our lovely display of merchandise? Come on. Take up what you want. That one I think is going to look pretty rocky, right? Well, you know what? Cheers. There you go. It was a disaster, honestly, but at the end, you know how we tried to win him over?
Oh, look at this.
Tried to win him over with free candy and merchandise.
Thanks.
And every kid there just gobbled up that stuff like that. Well, I want to take the time to thank you all very much for joining us. Remember, spring 2010, Universal Orlando, the wizarding world of Harry Potter. You think this is a debauchery? That's going to be great. I'm positive that we have screwed this up so badly that we had to have won. All right, see you later, guys. Enjoy yourself.
All right, guys. What'd you think?
I felt the girls were most true to the story and the actual canon of Harry Potter, but I thought the guys were more entertaining.
The boys, I feel like when I heard the hat talk, I think I saw the guy in the tree. I think it should have been a little more hidden, kind of.
And they said classes instead of houses. Right. But you got the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get a sense of what the entire world of Harry Potter was going to be like at Universal?
I thought that the girls showed more of what was going to be there, and the guys focused on the castle.
The guys, however, were very energetic and funny.
Great. Well, thank
Good
you
comments.
guys. Thank you.
Let's take a little poll and see which one you like better.
Coming up.
Goldberg, how was Rod? It was difficult. Very difficult. Why?
Say it.
I will say what I'm feeling. Don't tell me what to do.
What's with you, Goldberg?
Mañana, the Mexico Snake's top model, La Vida.
So, Governor, did you win?
I never predict elections. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we've worked real hard. I think we've worked as a team. So I think with all the challenges and the ups and downs, I think I like what we did.
What do you think of your team?
I thought they were great. I thought Brett was a superstar. Brett was
he the best in the team?
In my judgment, Brett has the best grasp on the creative element, and he brought some real strengths to this.
Good. So, Brett, how did the governor do as a project manager?
I think he did a great job. He was down in Florida, and he gave us all the right information, and I think he did a great job. And
Michael, what do you think?
I think that Rod didn't give a lot of direction. What he did give, he gave mostly to Brett, and he delegated without giving a vision of what he wanted. You can't just delegate and say, hey, you do this, or Brett, you just take over this, without saying, hey, this is how I see this thing unfolding, and this is what I'd like for it to look like. Now, you handle this part, you handle that part.
Goldberg, this task was about communication. How do you think the team communicated through your leader?
It was difficult, very difficult.
Why?
I will say what I'm feeling. Don't tell me what to do, for God's sake. It was tough. It was tough.
How was Rod?
Rod was good, but was he as good as project managers in the past? No, I don't think so. But it was the nature of the task, I think, that put him behind the 8 ball.
Curtis, what do you think?
I think he was particularly challenged because he was all the way down in Florida, and Rod's weak point is his technology.
He doesn't really use a computer, right? I mean, you have people that use computers,
Right.
but you don't work with computers.
Right. Will I get a chance to explain something?
Absolutely,
Yeah, good.
100%. So Curtis, go ahead, though, finish.
So I guess a lot of the communication was between Rod and myself, and then I'd convey it back to the team. And Rod was constantly with Salida, so we didn't want to give away our strategies and our gameplay. So probably would have been a big advantage if he could have texted or emailed a bit more fluidly, but that wasn't the case, so we made do.
I respectfully disagree a little bit with my teammates. I did communicate. I made it clear to them in the very beginning that I was going to ask Brett to be the project manager on the field while I was busy gathering information. I would relay information to them, and I made it clear in collaboration with my teammates that he was going to be the guy making the decisions on the concept and design, because as I looked carefully at the instructions of the challenge, it was clear Salita and I were going to be out of pocket for a lot of the early stages of it.
Well, actually, Aaron was telling me that Rod had certain difficulties with elements of technology.
Yeah, that's definitely what I heard. I can understand you are a little nervous about using the phone, but they seem to go a little bit beyond that. Look, they were very polite when I went in and checked in. They were polite. They weren't sniping at you behind your back, but you couldn't email, so you couldn't really say what you thought because you didn't want Salita to hear, but then you didn't have any other way of telling them. So I got the feeling they felt that they were trying to fill in the gaps and weren't really sure about the vision.
So, Salita, how did you do?
You know, like you said, this was a task that limited our communication. So, I mean, constantly I was texting and
Are you good with technology?
I think I am.
Pretty much all facets of the new technology.
Absolutely.
I call it the new technology because every day it changes.
It changes, absolutely.
But you're pretty updated on it.
Pretty updated.
How was the plane?
Magnificent.
Good plane?
Beautiful.
What were you doing on the plane?
I was going over the dossier. I was coming up with a guideline. I was pretty much working, but it was a huge disadvantage because as a team, I think we work extremely well, especially when it comes to the creative aspects.
And what was Rod doing? Well, it couldn't be that bad. I mean, I'm just asking sort of an innocent question, I think.
Rod was napping.
Napping?
Yes.
All right. Maybe that's not so bad.
No,
right?
it's not so bad, but I was working.
With all due respect to Salita, Winston Churchill said you can take one day and make it a day and a half if you make a judicious use of your time in the middle of the day. And then frankly, I did have my sunglasses on, so maybe my eyes were open.
Okay. Holly, what did you think of Salita as your project manager?
I was really impressed with her ability to communicate and how she used her technological skills. She was awesome.
So we have two opposites in a sense.
A little bit.
Okay. Maria, who is your weak link?
I just don't think that there is one on this task. I mean, she was doing everything she could from the plane. Sharon's doing everything she can with her sickness. Everybody was just working their tails off.
Summer, who is your weak link?
None. We all did good work. We all contributed. It was a
So
good
this
team
love
effort.
fest with the women just continues.
Yeah.
All right, well, okay. So, Salita, let me ask you this. If your team doesn't win, you're going to have to pick 2 people, come back to the boardroom. Who are they going to be?
First of all, it's going to be myself. I can't choose any of these women. I would.
You could say Sharon because she had the audacity to get sick.
The audacity.
Okay. You could say Cindy because you don't like her accent.
No, I love
You could do a million different. Who are you going to choose? Who are you going to bring back to the board?
You know what? If we lose, then I would have to make that decision. But as of now, that decision I can't make.
Actually, that's smart. But if you lose, you'll be fighting. I've seen it 100 times. Aaron, what do the young Harry Potter fans and the Universal executives think of the Mincy, both pro and con?
I would say overall they were pretty impressed. Executives really liked the overall display. Fans liked putting the spell on the tree, and I know Goldberg was the tree. The tree was also one of the cons. Both the adults and kids were a little concerned there were some inaccuracies. Just about names that you would use, for example, and they could tell it was you and not the hat that was talking.
Wow.
There were some issues. There were some issues just in terms of accuracy with the script as well as with the tree.
George, what about the women?
Well, the women, the first thing we really have to say is that you did hit the target audience, and that's the key. They liked the costumes, and they liked the way the wind blew. That was a great idea. As far as the content, they didn't feel you gave enough attention to the overall concept of it being a theme park or the attractions and what have you. But that's from the executives. This is what they're trying to sell.
Okay, are we ready? The executives thought the men did a really wonderful job. But the fact is, they didn't do wonderful enough. So the women win. Sharon, go home and get some sleep. Get yourself better.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Salita, you're going to be getting $20,000 for your charity. And go ahead, specifically.
For Shine on Sierra Leone. Thank
Great.
you very much.
Very good. Congratulations, Salita. Good job. Good job. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye,
Have a good
guys.
time. Goodbye, Cindy.
All right. Bye-bye. Girl, you took your neck. You took a chance.
All right, guys, 3 in a row.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Man, what's going on with you guys? Unfortunately, somebody will be fired.
This is an amazing win because all proceeds of this win goes to my charity, Shine on Sierra Leone, and I'm ecstatic.
Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you so very much.
Sierra Leone has the statistics of 1 in 8 women die in childbirth. So any contribution to Shine on Sierra Leone, which is meant to build a hospital for women, is amazing.
We need to do a toast to the hospital.
Yes. Cheers, Shari. I'm just so humbled by this win that I get to, share the news with the women of the committee.
All right, here we go. It's a bunch of boys.
Are you surprised, Michael?
No, I'm not surprised because I felt like we didn't get to do all of the things that we wanted to do. We spent a lot of time at the very beginning trying to get a concept together.
Whose fault?
I think it would have to be Rod's fault. You might say, hey, well, Brett was put in charge of that, but I think that Brett would have had a lot better idea of where to go and how to do this if he had some vision from the project manager who had actually been there.
And you just don't think he was a great project manager?
No, I don't.
Do you like him as a person?
I like Rod as a person, and I didn't think that I would like Rod as a person before I met him. But
I think a lot of people are liking Rod.
A lot of people.
I don't know that we're seeing the real Rod. I think Rod is a much more competitive person than what we're seeing. I think Rod is being overly nice because, you have some pretty big things to do when you finish with this, right? I think Rod doesn't want to get angry at you because, frankly, there may be some black jurors, and they may be angry that he got angry at you.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
He doesn't want to get angry at Goldberg because I assume you're Jewish. Are you Jewish, Goldberg? Because otherwise you'll be the only guy with the name Goldberg that isn't. And he doesn't want to get angry at the rock star because he wants to keep... it's a very tough... And I don't know what we can say about Curtis. He's like Central Casting Wasp. But no, but when you think about his position, I think he's in a very tough position. And I think you're a guy with great courage. Because I know people that get into trouble and they just want to go home to mommy. I see them fold like a tent.
Now can I make a case for why I should stay?
Yes.
Well, I feel like I thought we had a winning project.
See, even that's great. You know, he doesn't want to hear that. He just wants to go on and win. Okay, so why shouldn't you be fired as the project manager?
Well, we're on a 2-game losing streak going into this. Now it's 3. I think we've made real progress in this last project than we did in the previous 2. I'm trying to make some adjustments within our team. It's a delicate dynamic. I think we did real good in this project in that we really focused.
Who uses words like it's a delicate dynamic?
A politician.
A politician. Because you go, what the is he on about?
Which was the wizardry world of Harry Potter. That experience. I think we captured it.
You know, it's actually the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
The wizarding world of Harry
Wizarding.
Potter. Wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Wizarding.
That's correct. We focused on what was the most visually recognized part of that Harry Potter experience, and that was the Hogwarts Castle. I'm very pleased with the decision to make Brett the project manager when I'm going to be away, and all I can do is gather information rather than make some of these decisions by committee, which happens in this kind of a dynamic, to give it to him.
Curtis, how good was Brett?
Brett was very creative, as he always is. All of our creative energy was directed through Brett. We gave him our ideas.
But who was running the task, Brett or Rod?
Brett was.
And do you think that's appropriate for a project manager?
No, I don't.
Well, you could also say it's great delegation. You know, I mean, there's nothing better than somebody that knows how to delegate. He delegated to somebody that obviously did a good job. Goldberg. Brett seems like he was the one who was really in charge. Did you support him?
Absolutely.
Goldberg worked his butt off. This guy was passed out. It was ridiculous, the amount of...
Did you almost pass out?
Yeah.
Well, you come close to that for a tough guy. You come close to passing out.
When you see what I was wearing today...
Yeah, but you don't pass out. Who passes out? You pass out?
Yeah, no, I
never
have.
Strong guy. What's with you, Goldberg? Governor, you relied so heavily on Brett. Will you be bringing Brett back to the boardroom?
Sony, the Celebrity Apprentice.
Governor, you relied so heavily on Brett. Will you be bringing Brett back to the boardroom?
I will not.
Because you think he was good?
I thought he was very good.
Who will you be bringing back to the boardroom?
This is hard, but I would bring Curtis and Michael back.
Curtis and Michael. What do you think of that, Michael?
I expected that.
Why?
Well, because every time we've been in here, you've asked me, Michael, who is the weakest player? And I've said, none of us were weak. We were all great, but Rod was the least great.
So you think he's bringing you back because of the fact that you weren't as nice to him as some others?
Because I ranked him last, yes.
Okay. Curtis, what do you think?
I'm disappointed that that's his choice. I think that, you know, Rod needs to take some responsibility for how he delegated, but he has to choose 2 people, so.
Brett, what do you think of the fact that you ran the task and you lost and you're not being brought back in?
Well, first of all, I feel sick in my stomach that Curtis and Michael have to come back in.
And you don't like to lose so much.
I don't like to lose at all. But at the same time, I thought we did a fantastic job when he delegated me to do this, and Curtis entrusted in me and Goldberg and Michael to get the job done. It makes me sick in my stomach that we lost.
I want to ask just something, because it seemed that the reason that you lost to the Universal management was because of the inconsistencies with the story. And you kept saying the wrong title, right, when you were correcting me. You also were saying Hogwarts, and it's Hogwarts, right?
Hogwarts.
You used the term classes instead of houses.
Yes.
It seems that the reason you didn't win was less because of the concept and more because of the actual execution. So I'm just trying to get a sense of who made some of those decisions that might have put it over the edge and had you list.
Which one of all 5 of you did the research to see what words they use and so forth? mean, as a lawyer, if you use the wrong
Right.
word, you're in serious trouble. But who did that?
Well, this is where I think some of the individual players could have performed better.
Now, wait a minute, did you delegate anybody to do the research, or did any of the 5 figure maybe we ought to find out more about what makes Harry Potter what it is?
There's no one that you would say was responsible for more of the specific decisions than someone else.
No, I'm responsible for a lot of the decisions, and I embrace it. And I'm not going to throw him under the bus and bring him back here.
But why aren't you bringing him back in?
Yeah.
He led the team.
He was the guy leading in your absence, so that's what we're...
Because I chose him. I believe I chose him correctly. And I think we lost because maybe there wasn't enough help for him while I was gone and enough follow-up for him when I was gone.
But he's the person that you delegated to do the task and you lost.
Well, I would be the one to say, I stood up and I want to say this, if he was to bring someone back in the room and I was in his shoes, I would put my butt right back in this room.
Governor, do you want to change? Do you want to take Brett back instead of Michael or Curtis or whoever?
I believe...
You just thought he was so good that you can't do it.
Brett led the team to a good performance, which seems to be the consensus now.
But you lost.
We lost.
And he led the team. Why aren't you bringing him back instead of Michael or Curtis?
Because I don't know that Michael was as strong a player in this task as Brett or Goldberg. And again, it's not a reflection on Michael, and this is not what Michael suggested is. And I believe if you're asking me between Goldberg and Curtis, it's a tough call. But Goldberg's willing to do everything and anything you ask him to do.
Is that true?
Yes.
Who is your most difficult person in terms of running this team?
No one is difficult. It's a little bit tough for me to communicate with Michael just because there's a different vision. That's all. We see.
Michael, should Curtis be brought back, in your opinion?
No.
Should Brett be brought back?
Yes.
Because of the fact that he was so involved?
Yes, because
Should you be brought back?
I don't think I should be brought back.
Curtis, should Brett be brought back instead of you?
Yes, I think he should. I think Brett took on the creative vision for the challenge, so I think...
All right. Let me say, if I could, I think Brett is a real asset on this team. This is the one project manager who won.
I think he's a real asset also, but he's also the person that you delegated to do the task and you lost.
Right, but we could have won maybe if there was a little bit more work in the right direction, possibly, if the other two stepped up. Some of the decisions, again, I think Brett was a superstar. I made the right decision there. And I don't believe we lost because of Brett. What I think happened was...
Well, but he led the task.
Well...
And you did lose.
We did lose. We did
so you
lose.
lost because of somebody, and it seems to be Brett. And I know what you're saying. He did a good job, but you lost.
We lost, or they won.
Okay, Governor. Do you want to change? You know, as a governor, you have to make decisions. So sometimes you change your mind, and that's for the good of the people.
Right.
For the good of your charity.
Yes.
Do you want to change your mind?
No, I did not.
All right. Brett, Goldberg, you go. Michael, Curtis, Rod, please go to the lobby. You'll come right back. Somebody will be fired. Tough guy. Yeah. You know, he doesn't, it's like a piece of steel. Won't change his mind.
He stuck to his guns.
Puts himself at a great disadvantage.
That was a bad move.
What's that?
Not picking Brett.
I can't.
I feel you.
I had some responsibility to him, and I felt like he did a good job. They liked it. Yeah.
Go with what you feel.
Celebrity Apprentice.
Amanda, let him in.
Gentlemen, you can go back into the boardroom now.
Sit down, please. So, Governor, you've proven that you have a lot of fight in you. For years you've proven that, but you've certainly proven it now. What do you have to say?
Well, again, I think did a very good job, and that seems to be confirmed by what Aaron says and what the other feedback was. I know we lost, but you could also say they won. They were just a little bit better than us. And I think that, you know, the fact that we lost, I think maybe is because some of the other component parts didn't work as well with the vision that, you know, I take responsibility for. My creative design guy, Brett, takes responsibility for.
But why didn't you bring him back? I'm not saying he would have been fired, and everyone said he did a great job. But why didn't you bring him back?
Because if Aaron and the feedback was that our project was poor, I'd have brought him back in a second.
So, Rod, who should I fire? You have Michael, you have Curtis. Who should I fire and why?
If it's judged just based on this project alone.
It's really based on this project alone,
yeah,
yes.
I would reluctantly say Curtis, only because he has a lot of skill and talent, and maybe he didn't help out as much with communications he should have. But that's a hard thing to say, because Curtis is very good and has been very
Curtis,
successful.
what do you say about that?
The reality, Mr. Trump, is that Rod wouldn't know what we did, you know, who worked well and who didn't, because he didn't keep in touch with us very well throughout the day.
Bad communication?
Terrible communication, actually. Every time we spoke on the phone, you said very directly, I'm standing next to Salida, I don't want to give any of our game away. You didn't know how to text, you didn't know how to email us. I don't know how you can have a...
Well, did you think Rod was a good project manager?
No, I don't. I think he was a poor project manager.
Michael, did Curtis fail, would you say, because of the fact that he was in charge of communications and he didn't communicate?
No, not at all. Curtis wasn't, I mean, Curtis talked to him as often as he would call, and he would say, hey, I've got to go to a meeting, I'm going to call you back. And every time, and he would have him on speaker, so I heard it. Every time he talked to him, he would say, Salida's next to me, I can't really talk about.
Curtis, do you think you failed?
No, I don't think I failed. I think we kept it...
But you were in charge of communicating, and you didn't communicate. You wouldn't say that's your fault?
Well, during the early part of the task was the creative design. So Brett would sign off on the creative design and tell us what it was. And then 10 minutes later, he'd describe it to someone else and describe something completely different. Brett's way of bringing something together creatively, it's a moving target. So we were following that, and then at any point that we spoke, we were in a decent place, but then it would continue to change.
Governor, go ahead, respond.
Yeah, let me answer a couple things. Number one, the Harry Potter thing's pretty self-explanatory. And if you're working for your team, and yeah, there's some creative tension between a creative guy like him and Brett. My feeling was he didn't work as hard. He didn't work as hard for Brett, or give his best efforts for the team, because Brett was the guy in charge for the creative design stuff. Now again, I had veto power.
Michael, why are you smiling?
Because every time I've come in here, you ask me a question: who was weakest? Who should? I give you an answer. He wasn't giving any answers. Everyone was great earlier. Everyone was great all of this time, and now all of a sudden, ass on the line, start throwing people under the bus.
No, I think Curtis is the guy with
that sounds like to me you're making things up. All of a sudden now Curtis didn't work as hard.
No,
that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I didn't say that. When they don't know the product.
Well, you did actually sort of say it.
Well, I suggested that.
I think you did say it, not sort of, right?
Well, I believe what I said was he had a feeling that he wasn't getting direction from the deputy in charge on the ground while I was gone, and never brought it to my attention, and I constantly called before I was on planes and other things to get a sense
Okay,
of what
but listen, I just want to ask this one question. Your Harry Potter facts were not accurate. Who did the research?
There was not a specific direction to do the research on Harry Potter, but the inability to learn the product, and there was an issue in the...
Was that their inability or your inability?
I suppose I should have directed everybody else to learn the product. I will say that's sort of an axiomatic thing that you might want to do as you understand what the challenge is. I thought convey to them what the challenge was, what we should do, collaborate with them over the phone with the limitations having the other project manager.
Yeah, but you went to Orlando to learn about Harry Potter. Nobody else did. So wouldn't you have been the one to know the product and learn the product?
I feel like I knew the product. In fact, I wrote a lot of the text. You know, I talked about the different houses, and I was the one who said houses and classes interchangeably because I was trying to be more explicit so people can get a concept of it. But it's Slytherin, and it's Hufflepuff, and it's Ravenclaw, and it's...
So are you responsible?
I think we did not win. But I think if you were looking at this like a baseball team, we're making progress. I believe some of our talent...
Yeah, but you're making progress and you're running out of people.
understand.
You know, you're
Right.
doing wonderfully. Everything's great, but you keep losing and you're running out of people.
Right.
And you're the project manager.
I know.
And Governor, I have great respect for you. I have great respect for your tenacity, for the fact that you just don't give up. But Rod, you're fired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks. Take care of yourself. Good luck.
Thanks, Mr. Trump.
Wish you all the best, mate. Keep in touch with us, okay?
Hey. Hello. How are you?
I feel badly for him. He tried, but I really feel badly.
I think you made the right choice, though. They lost because they didn't have the specifics. He was the one who ultimately was in charge of a few of those key mistakes.
He couldn't handle it. You gave him a task that he just physically couldn't handle.
It's pretty sad.
Life is filled with ups and downs. Sometimes you win and sometimes you don't. The real test of who you are is how you deal with it. I was not going to sell out Brett. I think it would have been very disloyal and very wrong. I'm the project manager. I take full responsibility, and I got the boot.
Sigue con